All right. So she's guilty.
The jury having reached a verdict, Ms. Guyger and your team, would you please stand? We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Amber Guyger, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment. No outbursts.
Okay, don't celebrate yet. You know, we're still in the system of white supremacy. I want you to take a look at what has happened in the past.
As to count one, charging the defendant, Peter Liang, with the crime of manslaughter in the second degree. What is your verdict? Guilty. As to count five, charging the crime of official misconduct. What is your verdict? Guilty. Foreperson, please be seated. Members of the jury, hear your verdict as it stands before you. You say you find the defendant, Peter Liang, guilty as to count one, charging the crime of manslaughter in the second degree, and guilty as to count five, charging the crime of official misconduct. Is this your verdict, and so say you all?
The former New York officer found guilty of manslaughter in the 2014 fatal shooting of a Guyger won't spend any time behind bars. A judge sentenced Liang to 5 years of probation and 800 hours of community service and reduced the conviction to criminally negligent homicide. While there's sure to be some backlash, the sentencing basically lines up with what the district attorney's office recommended. Before the sentencing, DA Ken Thompson released a statement saying the case wasn't about revenge, adding Liang's incarceration is not necessary to protect the public, and due to the unique circumstances of this case, a prison sentence is not warranted. Before the sentencing, Liang apologized to Gurley's family.
The white supremacists will say, hey, you want an apology for slavery? You want an apology for, me mistreating you today and for all the mistreatment I'm going to dump on you tomorrow? And what you want out of it is an apology? Well, boy, gal, that's what they call us. Hey, if that's all you want, how many do you want? I got truckloads of apologies.
With his lawyer adding the former cop is, quote, not a villain or demon. Liang was patrolling a housing project with his gun drawn when he says he was surprised by a noise and accidentally fired. Prosecutors argued Liang broke department policy by walking around with his finger on the trigger of his gun. Liang and his partner then argued about who would call in the shooting instead of providing Gurley with any first aid. Both testified they never received the proper CPR training. The case had a bit of a different tone than other publicized officer-involved shooting cases in the U.S. Liang's supporters argued he was being discriminated against because he's Chinese American and claimed he was a scapegoat for white officers who hadn't been indicted.
I feel like the Amber Guyger, the details of this case is everywhere, and you really don't need me to talk about it. But so the point of me making this video was to talk about this woman named Bunny. Bunny lived in the building on the floor, and she took video of Amber Guyger 60 seconds after our brother was shot. So just take a look of this interview. I got bits and pieces of it. You can the link to the entire interview is in the comments. But just take a look at this bits and pieces.
I did hear the actual shot, and that's what prompted me to go outside and actually start recording the video. I heard everything prior to. Some things I'm not at liberty to speak about, but I did hear the actual gunshots, and I heard a male's voice say, "Oh my God, why did you do that?" And then that's when I went outside. My video actually started about 60 seconds after the actual shooting took place.
In your estimation, how many shots you heard?
Two.
Two shots. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about the Southside Flats apartments. Okay. So both of them, John, was he on the fourth floor?
He was on the fourth floor.
And the Amber Guyger, she lives on the third floor at the time? That's
correct.
Okay. So is there any way, shape, form, or even possible for her to confuse his apartment with her apartment?
No, I wouldn't see how. The elevator, the garage, the hallways, everything is marked with what floor you're on. And had she had come from the garage, she would have had to walk down two pretty long hallways to get to his door. So she would have passed plenty of indication to let her know she was on the fourth floor.
Okay, it was also stated that when it initially happened, that she stated that she saw the door kind of ajar. Could those doors be ajar for any reason?
No, the doors close automatically. They're firefighter doors. They close as soon as you release them. I've never had the door over there stay open at all. I actually did do one interview, only under the basis that I would be able to view the interview before they were able to publicize it. They actually chopped up my words a little bit in the interview. They mixed stuff up. They kind of made it seem like I was sympathizing with Amber, saying that she was hysterical and she regretted what they kind of made it look like I was defending her. So I did not give them permission to go ahead and air that interview. And after that, I didn't speak with anybody else.
So when you viewed that interview, you took time out to try to share the story. How did you feel once you was watching them literally propagandize, a very, very serious event that you witnessed?
I knew from that moment that I should not speak with anybody else. I knew how they were trying to play this. They were trying to use me as a piece to the puzzle to try to justify what she did. Me being the only witness that was willing to come forward. They wanted me to be on her side. And that made me, I just shut down completely. I didn't speak to nobody else. I didn't take any more calls, no interviews or anything like that.
In the process of the phone conversation, did she mention anything that she was trying to render aid?
No, I never verbally heard her mention that. And like I said, I physically seen her walking back and forth, so she wasn't rendering aid.
Okay, so all the police and medical personnel arrived. What was the initial conversation that you heard when they arrived?
I heard them kind of pull her to the side and say, "You're doing too much." I did hear another police officer take her cell phone from her. And I know that they took her back over to the actual scene where I'm assuming his body was laying. They did not remove her from the scene. And that's pretty much what I heard when the police arrived.
So after everything, ended, you had this video. I mean, what was your mindset when you saw this video? Like, I know you watched it a couple of times.
I did, and I actually didn't take the video with any, I didn't plan on uploading it at all. I actually didn't upload the video for 2 days until after the actual shooting. The next day, I'm looking on the news, looking on social media, trying to figure out what was going on. And I see a conflict in the story. I see that it's what she was saying was completely contradicting to what I had seen. So that's when I made the decision to go ahead and upload the video. I was hesitant. I didn't want that attention on myself, but I kind of felt compelled to do something. So I went ahead and uploaded the video just because I knew what was on my video was contradicting to what she was saying happened.
So after all of that happened, when did the police, Texas Rangers, etc., start coming to speak to you?
The very next day, and they came consistently every day for at least 2 weeks straight.
Okay, now you say consistently. You say once a day, twice a day?
Once a day, every day for about 2 weeks.
Did they ever tell you that you would maybe help them with the investigation? What were they asking?
Yeah, they told me that they would appreciate my help within the investigation since I did witness more than others. They wanted to know what I witnessed, where I was standing, where I took the video from, what I heard, both before and after the shots. And I did speak with the DA. I did hand over my video to the DA. But once it just got very repetitive, they started asking me the same questions every single day. And that kind of made me feel like they were trying to get me to change my story or try to, set me up in a negative light. So I just completely stopped talking to them as well.
So when you felt like you wanted to stop talking to them, was it because you were starting to feel criminalized?
Yes. I couldn't understand. I couldn't make sense of it, why they wanted to have the exact same conversation every single day. And I did get a feeling like they were trying to get me to give a different answer, and they were trying to pressure me to say something that I said differently yesterday. And at that point, I just discontinued any type of communication with them. People within the community, I guess, found out where I was employed at, and they started harassing the company. They were posting to my company's Facebook page, calling, emailing the corporate office, telling them I'm a radical, I'm anti-police, I'm a black extremist, all this type of stuff. And my employer actually fired me for that. I threatened to go to the media over it, and they actually took it a step further and blacklisted my credentials. So my credentials are no longer valid in the state of Texas.
Okay, well, since they took that measure, let's talk about a few things. The people, and I'm using that very loosely, so-called people, they labeled you as a radical. Are you a radical?
I'm not a radical.
Are you a black extremist?
I'm not.
Not at all. Okay, so who do you feel these people are that called your company?
People that disagree with me uploading evidence against Amber.
Okay, so this company that did this to you, did they even hear like your side of the story?
They did. They gave me a chance to explain myself, and they simply told me they didn't want their company associated with a high-profile case. And because of that, they were letting me go.
Texas is an at-will state, so they unfortunately they can get away with that. So they blacklisted you. How did they blacklist you?
I actually got my credentials from this company while working for them. I also acquired credentials. It's a pharmaceutical company, so they were able to blacklist my credentials because they were the ones that issued it to me.
Okay, was your credentials through the state of Texas?
Yes.
Okay, in the kind of way you can appeal that?
I'm in the process of it, and that's why I couldn't give you the name of the company. I'm in the process of appealing that now.
Okay, so how did it hurt your income by blacklisting your credentials?
Well, tremendously. Getting fired, my income stopped coming in 100%. And then trying to get, other jobs, I don't have the credentials anymore. So I would either have to take way less pay, about half of what I was making with my credentials, or I just have to go into a completely different field.
Now, as you're looking for jobs, people kind of recognizing your face a little bit due to them putting your information out there. Do you feel safe here?
No, not at all. In addition to losing my job over this, I'm also an entrepreneur. I had gotten to the point where I was generating income from Instagram with my clothing brand. They deleted my personal account where I initially uploaded the videos. A few days later, they deleted my business accounts as well from both Instagram and Facebook. So I'm dealing with that. I'm trying to rebuild my followers back up with my business. And that's where I'm at today. I'm just in a state of rebuilding right now. Okay, so
Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, they decided just to take down your accounts.
And they sent me an email telling me that my posts were against the community guidelines. My business account, I don't understand that. It's a clothing brand. There's nothing posted on there except clothes. but they told me it was against their community guidelines, and they deleted the page.
Because based on what you told me, that clothes is not against the community guidelines. Were you selling like lingerie or something?
No, mostly T-shirts.
Okay, T-shirts. Well, did the T-shirts have any like curse words
No.
or? Okay, so what it's at least sounding like to me, there's retaliation because they have a direct link. Facebook do direct link with a lot of these law enforcement agencies, so they wanted to probably just harass you, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
that way. So you have what, a website now? Or how are you promoting your clothing line now?
I'm just trying to rebuild everything. I started from scratch. I also started randomly experiencing problems logging into the back end of my website during this time. So I deleted that website. I'm just starting from scratch right now. And no, my website is not back up yet.
Not back up yet. And from what I saw, you also had a GoFundMe.
I do. One of my ex-coworkers from the job that they let me go, my manager, she watched me go through all of this. She knew what was going on with me. She wanted to do something to help me out. So she actually started a GoFundMe for me. She's since then handed it over to me. But yeah, she did start a GoFundMe for me.
Okay, so no matter what amount someone gives throughout the world, it goes directly to you, correct?
Yes, it does. I didn't think it would go any other way. Amber has received so much support from her community, and I feel like I didn't receive the same. She's the one that actually pulled the trigger that murdered somebody. I'm the one that tried to help put a murderer behind bars. And it just seems like she got so much support and I got none, which is honestly why I made the decision to start speaking up. I actually didn't come forward about anything I was experiencing till about maybe a month ago. During the beginning of December is the first time I really spoke out about this. And I kind of felt compelled to speak out about it. I just felt I was doing more damage to myself staying in the shadows opposed to just coming forward.
Family, share her story. Share that interview. You don't have to share my video. As always, like I say, you don't have to share my video, but share that interview so her story can get out. Not only that, but those that, like our family members that have money that can employ this sister, give this sister a job. We gotta stand, like she did something that's really hard to do. She stood up and stood on her own. Y'all, everybody going around talking about 10 toes, right? Here's a sister who stood on her 10 toes and she feels abandoned. The link to her GoFundMe is below, above, wherever. It's been listed the whole video. Please donate to her GoFundMe. And family members that can do something to help her situation aside for just donating money, do that too. This sister needs a job. She needs protection. Okay? Don't let nothing happen to this sister. We need to protect her. She is a warrior. That's not easy to do. That whole story she went through. Can we stand with her, please?